Welcome to the Sharkpreneur podcast with Kevin Harrington and Seth Greene. Kevin Harrington is the inventor of the infomercial, one of the original sharks from the hit TV show Shark Tank, and has generated over $5 billion in TV and digital direct response sales. Seth Greene is the world's first trusted authority on cutting-edge direct response marketing, a best-selling author, and the only 3-time Marketer of the Year nominee. On the podcast, Kevin and Seth interview sharkpreneurs who share straight talk on what it takes to explode your business.
Why do so many businesses struggle while others seem to explode overnight? Do you wish you had the secret to this type of exponential growth? Now, I've scaled more than 20 businesses to over $100 million, and it's not just luck. In my new book with Mark Tim, Mentor to Millions, you'll learn the repeatable framework I use in all my business ventures for massive success. Order at kevinmentor.com and get over $1,000 in bonuses. Head to kevinmentor.com.
Welcome to the podcast. This is your host, Seth Greene. Today, I've got the good fortune to be joined by Joe Lamb of Jim Dodson Law. Joe, thanks so much for joining us.
Hey, thanks for having me, Seth.
Thanks everybody for watching or listening. Quick legal disclaimer, Joe is an attorney in the state of Florida. So if you are not in the state of Florida, please seek advice where you are. And we are not giving any legal advice out on this podcast. And a special thank you to financial advisor Robert Lehman, who introduced us. Joe, let's go back in time a little bit. What inspired you to go to law school in the first place?
I wanted to go to law school. To tell you the truth, my dad is a former Vietnam veteran. Was raised in a very poor family in North Carolina, was the first member of the family to go to college, ultimately went to become a lawyer, and was really inspirational for me in my life and pushing me academically and, in every other aspect of my life. And when I graduated law school, I knew that I wanted to go work with him and spent the first several years of my life after law school working with him. What an amazing time, and to learn from him was really great. And I've just really enjoyed doing it, getting to help people, especially now that I've switched to being a plaintiff's lawyer for the last few years. Getting to help people really just makes every day a little bit easier.
Awesome. So I believe you started out was that in the insurance defense side?
Yes. So, originally I started out doing medical malpractice defense for hospitals in the Tampa Bay area. I then switched to doing auto insurance defense in downtown Tampa. And I learned some very valuable things, really enjoyed the people that I worked with there. But I just quickly found out that I was on the wrong side of the aisle for how my personal interests lined up, and decided very quickly that I wanted to be, on the side of the people who have been injured and helping them rather than telling them that their case isn't worth as much as they'd like it to be.
So that's an interesting switch, considering you might on one side have defended someone for medical malpractice, and now you might be suing them for medical malpractice. It's kind of like when prosecutors switch over to become defense attorneys. How have you managed that transition?
Mainly, first of all, unfortunately, it has resulted in conflict of interest involving certain cases to be taken on, which has been a challenge. The main way I've avoided this is by working with some incredible medical malpractice attorneys that I grew up going up against. So it's kind of interesting to flip around and give these guys calls and say, hey, I really enjoyed working against you. Now, would you like to work together on some of these cases? And that's been really beneficial for both of us. And it's been great relationships to have. And just on the other side, my beginnings in medical malpractice, I think, really set me up well for what I do mainly now, which is, helping people who have suffered traumatic brain injuries in either bicycle or auto accidents.
And how did you arrive at that area of specialization?
Absolutely. It's just like all things, it was a happy accident. Jim Dodson, who I currently work for as my main partner, he's known as the Florida bike guy. And he represents cyclists all throughout the state after they get into accidents. And very unfortunately, one of the natural outcomes of many bicycle accidents, because you've got, just an individual whose only defense is a plastic helmet around their head, going smack down on the ground, concussions in almost 2/3, if not more, of those accidents. And that on top of the fact that it's a really emerging, both scientific and legal area, because if you recall, only 20 some odd years ago, concussions weren't taken very seriously. Only once the NFL started investigating CTE and the long-term side effects of even one concussion did the serious nature of these injuries really start getting out. And unfortunately, so often for people, they just went undiagnosed. And it's very fascinating because so often you see very serious emotional and character changes throughout their life following these events. And for many people, they just had no idea why it was happening. I thought it was the stress of the accident, things like that. So it's been a really fun field to kind of step backwards and fall into.
Absolutely. Now you have a special series called Joe Knows Brains. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Oh, absolutely. Every other Wednesday, I'd go on, do Facebook live streams discussing some of the medical and some of the legal aspects of brain injuries. Now, I don't even play a doctor on TV. I would never try to give any medical advice on the show, but really I just go over kind of the basics of brain injuries and the simple science behind it. Currently still in the beginning stages, beginning to over the next couple months, want to bring in some guests. Hopefully I don't want to give a secret away, but have a really good doctor I work out with in Colorado. I've been speaking to, hoping to bring him on. And the advice that these experts can give have been so beneficial both to my life and to those who listen, because there's just so many small things that you can do when you take a concussion seriously and you take larger brain injuries more seriously to really help yourself in the aftermath.
That makes a lot of sense. Where can we go? Where can our viewers and our listeners go to learn about that? Because that's obviously not, brain injuries aren't only happening in the state of Florida. How do we get a hold of that series?
If you want to check out the series, it's available on our Facebook at Jim Dodson Law. And it's also at our YouTube channel, which is Jim Dodson Law. Very simple, same tag for everything. And I believe if you Google it, we're currently getting them set up on our website, which is shockingly jimdodsonlaw.com. We also do some other videos not brain related on the Florida Bike Guy website as well.
Awesome. Now, what are some of the biggest mistakes people make when it comes to, handling a accident, an injury, or of some kind?
Absolutely. Both in terms of brain injuries and in terms of all accidents, the number one mistake people make is relying too heavily on themselves and not trusting others. So many people, unfortunately, have this misconception that lawyers are these big, scary folk who, aren't going to help them or, are going to sit there and act like we're wasting our time. Most of the calls I get, I'd say more often than not, when I get a phone call, the individual is scared, coming after an accident. And a lot of times they're not even that physically injured. They just want someone to give them calm, rational guidance. And always our consultations are free. So if you call us with a good faith, hey, I just got in an accident, I'm trying to figure out what to do, a lawyer in our firm will always speak to you within 24 hours, you calling into us. We try to be faster, but unfortunately it's a very busy industry, and give you that advice just to get you set up. Now, I will say, if you call and ask me about something related to, your will, I'm not going to be able to help you too much. But so often we're able to help those people, just give them basic guidance, because everybody wants to, it's not that bad. So they stay at home. They don't see a doctor. Oh, I can handle it myself. They say the wrong things to insurance companies. They don't even know what coverage they have. They don't know what their rights are. In all of these situations, I highly recommend the first thing they want to do is see a doctor. At least in Florida, it's going to be covered whether you're at fault for the accident or not under what's known as our PIP law. And the second thing is speak to a lawyer. So that way you know your rights and know what you should do going forward. And for brain injuries specifically, the number one thing that people need to do more of is rest. And so often people want to just get in these horrific accidents, then just immediately go back to, the grind that many of us undergo. And I have to tell a lot of people, let's take it easy and just take a deep breath and relax.
That is good advice in general. And specifically, you've helped your clients achieve so much success. What's your biggest challenge now?
My biggest challenge going forward has been really growing and learning the business of law. Being a lawyer has always been really fun to me in a way that a lot of people I think find stressful, but to me is the enjoyable part. Hearings, depositions, I don't want to call it adversarial because I never treat the people I work with or work against on a case as adversaries. At the end of the day, we're all doing our jobs, trying to make sure that, that our clients get the best outcome possible. And as long as everyone's doing their job politely and with professionalism, we get good results. So really the biggest challenge has been figuring out how the business end of running a law firm. And I will say that Jim, the partner that I work for, he is a wonderful boss and leader as both a lawyer, as a person, and as a businessman. So it's made the last year of really trying to learn this side of the industry just a true joy, really.
Well, that is awesome. You give advice to clients every day. What's the best advice you've ever gotten?
Oh, that's a really good question. The best advice I ever got was to remember that you're not your emotions. And it sounds weird, but it changed everything, because once I learned to just take a deep breath and say, the anxiety or whatever you're feeling in that moment, that will pass. The best version of that is they're just rooms in a house, and you can always walk into a different room. Really helped me to start taking a step back from these things. You know how it is. In today's business world, everything's one thing after another, and just learning to take a step back, assess it, and then approach it with a more logical mind has done wonders for me in my practice and in my work.
Awesome. Well, we know your time is incredibly valuable. We greatly appreciate you spending some of it with us. This has been Seth Greene with Joe Lamb of JimDodsonLaw.com. Joe, thanks so much for joining us.
Hey, thank you so much, Seth.
Thanks everybody for watching or listening. Thanks again to Bob Lehman for the introduction, and we'll talk to you or see you next time.
Do you need money to fund your idea, product, or service? Are you ready to take your business to the next level, but need capital to get it done? Kevin Harrington has heard more than 50,000 pitches and knows how to help you make the perfect pitch to get the funding for your entrepreneurial dream. He's distilled the process down in his perfect pitch cheat sheet, and it's yours for free. Just text PITCH to him right now at 727-888-2100. Text PITCH to 727-888-2100 right now and claim your free perfect pitch cheat sheet. Text PITCH to 727-888-2100 to start funding your dream today.
This show has been produced by Market Domination, LLC. To discover how you can have your own show completely done for you and turn it into a real published book and become the authority in your marketplace, go to www.marketdominationllc.com/podcast offer.